What's up, guys? Welcome back to the JP and Trav show on the JP and Trav YouTube channel. As always, it's your host with the most, JP. And to the right of me, I have a Stormtrooper. What's going on, man?
Oh, I've got May the Fourth be with you to everybody out there.
Yeah,
Yeah, I enjoyed my day, fired off some Star Wars jokes to start the day, and then I walked to work wearing this, which thank goodness I didn't trip or anything. But yeah, got a couple looks, and yeah, we got a linebacker commit. We got a wide receiver looking to commit. We got basketball visits going on. It's going to be
yeah.
wild.
There's a lot happening right now. That's for sure. Let's go ahead and get into the transfer portal talk, man. As you said, just before we hopped on here, the Sooners got a All-American linebacker at Division II level from I believe Ferris State University, and was definitely an integral part of their national championship winning team. And again, I know people have comments of, oh, why are we taking a D2 guy? But no matter what level you come from, if Brent Venables is going to offer you, obviously he sees something. Even if it's just depth. So it's always good to get additional depth. Never a bad thing. And then, as you said, we've had a couple of wide receiver portals as well, and a couple more looking to come in. So, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, let's start with linebacker because he's actually committed now, and it's not just crystal balls and future casts and RPMs and there's so many different terms for it in the industry. But yeah, getting that linebacker is great. To be honest, we had talked about it even on radio today. Linebacker, really, when it comes to the depth, if we have a starter go down, we could be in trouble there. So, but as we saw with quarterback recruiting last year, if you all remember a little bit, actually, really right around this time is when we were hosting General Booty. We had got Davis Bevel, things like that. And a lot of people were like, man, why are we getting these dudes? Well, it's really hard to get quality players to commit to you knowing that they're not going to start and that they likely won't even compete for a starting job. So you ran into that with General Booty, you ran into it with Davis Bevel. Well, now you run into it with the linebackers because Danny is as secure of a starter as you basically have out. I mean, maybe on the entire team, right? Him and Billy Bowman are pretty much the two that you're like, okay, these are the starters. So you get that. And on the other side, at Mike linebacker, you've got obviously Jaron Kanik and Kobe McKenzie fighting for that. So if one of them goes down, you're looking at Kip Lewis, who still needs to add weight. He's only like 200 pounds. Like we've got kickers and punters that weigh more than what would be our Mike linebacker. Can't happen. So obviously we've got Shane Witter still. We're gonna have Sammy Omosigo and Lewis Carter show up, but you need to be able to recruit that break in case of emergency, play in case of emergency type of player. Yeah. Well, that's who this is. Yeah. He's an All-American. He's a two-time D2 national champion. Mm-hmm. He's a winner. You know what I mean? So, it's not the wow, right? That you're not gonna say, oh my, this isn't Nick Jackson, right? It's not the big transfer portal stuff. I'm getting DMs like, hey, do you have any of his film? I'm like, no, I don't. All I know is he's an All-American that committed knowing that he's not going to get a ton of playing time, if any at all. So we need depth, and this is how you get depth. So tell me what you think about adding a linebacker. You think we should be done on linebacker? Where else do you think we need help?
Yeah, no, I mean, again, I think you have a lot of young talent right at the linebacking position, but as you said, we besides Danny, truly we don't have anybody that's really got the reps. And so, as you said, we're going to lean on him heavily to help the other guys come along. We have a lot of talent there, but it's good to get somebody, similar to if you remember last year, TD Roof came in. Obviously, unfortunately, he had his tear that he had that kept him out the whole year. But definitely good to get a seasoned linebacker that's played a lot of football. And again, you can scoff at D2 all you want, but clearly, he's played at a high level, winning 2 national championships, being All American. So, he at least has the IQ, and hopefully can at the very least help, just move that room along. I think, to be honest, I would like to see a couple more interior defensive linemen. I think we could use a little help there. Just it's the same thing, just not a ton of seasoning. But we have talent there. I'm not gonna lie and say we don't have talent. It's just production, right? And I think that that's the same that can be said for the wide receiver room. And I know, we'll let you get to that in terms of what the receivers are going through, but we just have a lot of potential talent and no production. So ultimately, you want to have somebody that has some actual production on the college level in there. And whether even if they can just help the guys who are more talented than them and push them, it's better than not having them there.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up production, right? Because I am getting like I'm the only one on this island, and I'm coming across like a hater.
Hmm.
Like I need to warn the chat, warn the viewers. I know I'm on an island here, but as somebody who is diehard about recruiting, tries to keep up with not only transfer portal but multiple classes, multiple sports, everything like that. It's like I don't like. Don't we have enough talent in the wide receiver room? Like I feel like I'm riding in the car with somebody right now, and like they only let each song get 2 seconds in before they go to the next one, go to the next one, go to the next one. Like the problem is like, how do we know? First of all, LV Bunkley Shelton produced in his
Yep.
second year at Arizona State. JJ Hester produced as a true freshman at Missouri. Both of
Yep.
them haven't done anything since they've been here because they haven't been given the opportunity.
That's true.
Obviously, Nick Anderson's been hurt. Jaden Gibson hasn't made the most of his opportunities. Andrell Anthony produced in very little that he had actually produced more in his freshman year than he did his sophomore year. But that was one thing that the Michigan, writers even said, hey, we need to get the ball to Andrell Anthony more, but they didn't. So now he's at Oklahoma. You've got DJ Graham, who's might have the best hands on the team. He's a slick route runner.
Yeah.
You've got Gavin Freeman, and you've got Jaquays Petaway coming in. You've got
Right.
all these dudes, and it's like I know Emmett Jones can recruit because he's landed like 15 people in the last week or two. Like, but can he coach? Like, he can coach. I know he can because he coached fine at Texas Tech. He coached fine at Kansas, and the reason we went out and got him was because he could coach. So you're trying to tell me that Jaden Gibson, Nick Anderson, Jaquays Petaway, JJ Hester, LV Bunkley Shelton, Andrell Anthony, Brennan Thompson, DJ Graham. You're trying to tell me none of those 8 would have produced last year at Colorado? I think somebody might have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I named Brennan. I think some of them might have. But what we're saying is, hey, we need somebody that's produced at this level. Well, if Marvin Mims isn't on the team last year, I mean, is LV Bunkley Shelton, does he have a little more production this year? I bet he does because would he be better off if he didn't ever come here in the first place and just waited for Mims to be gone and stayed at Arizona State? Would we be looking at LV Bunkley Shelton different if he continued his production that we were seeing at Arizona State? Like, I am all about adding more talent to the team. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah.
But what I'm worried about is we're taking so many reps away from so many people. How are we supposed to know if any of these kids can contribute? we've got 10 guys trying to make one spot. And then in the spring game, and really throughout spring, you've had offensive linemen injured. So it's not like the quarterbacks have had a ton of time in real scrimmages to be able to throw. I don't know. I feel like sometimes people can confuse opportunity for production.
Yeah.
Or maybe not confuse the two because they're not the same. But production through opportunity, or just straight production because they were the best, they would be the best here. Like, would Tyson have started last year for us? Well, if not, then he wouldn't have produced last year. Would we still think of him in the same way? Like, I don't know. Like I said, add more, no doubt, but I like the linebacker pickup. I'd like to see more defensive line. We're after another center. We're after another corner. There are other spots we're bringing people in, and I do think he's an intriguing return specialist. He can return punts. He can return kicks.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, dude, how are these guys supposed to get any reps? And if I were JJ Hester or if I were LV Bunkley Shelton, I would sit there and say, what do you want from me?
Yeah.
Why are you bringing in 3 wide receivers in the transfer portal? You should brought me in last year after I was productive at Arizona State. I don't know. If Emmett Jones can't make it work with those 8 plus Tyson, then he ain't going to be able to make it work with anybody.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, you're not wrong. And I think ultimately, Emmett Jones is going to have to figure out, who's going to be able to help him. And I'm sure he just wants to get some eyes on guys. And like you said, I know that could probably take away from some people. But at the end of the day, hopefully those guys, that are in that room, the cream of the crop steps up, and we get who we should see out there. LV Bunkley is going to be that guy. If JJ is going to be that guy, hopefully they can prove it. Hopefully they stay healthy, and that's another thing is, if they're injured, maybe it just provides extra depth. But I definitely understand your point in terms of the reps piece. So we'll have to see what it turns into. We'll have to see what it looks like as we continue. And I know we have some people that think maybe we need some more interior O linemen. Which I don't think that's a terrible proposition. I know we had some people that thought we were going to lose some offensive linemen. We've retained, who's been on the interior and everything like that. So, but I'm looking forward to this season, man. And I've liked all the portal additions we've added. And have you heard anything in terms of spaces they're looking to add? I don't think I have, but
obviously we're looking at corner, we're looking at interior offensive line.
Yeah.
We're looking, of course, at interior defensive line. The only
Yes.
issue, I'm so glad. Oh, never mind. I read Jets, and it was about to be the point I was going to make. OU needs to find a center in the portal. We are after a center in the portal, Appalachian State. I think he was like a freshman All-American. The kid can play, but he would back up Rame because Rame is not in the portal. But to Jet's point, what I thought he was saying, because I was about to make a basketball point, everybody wants dominant, athletic, bigs, long bigs, right, in the portal. Everybody's like, we need that 6'10" dude, that, that this, that, and the other.
Mm-hmm.
We need these guys out of the portal. Well, guess what? Everybody does. Same thing with defensive linemen. When Bear Alexander comes out of the portal, somebody's already tampered with him and dropped him a bag. It's just as simple as that. So it's with interior defensive line, you're going to run into that. But I just think I think you got to coach up what you have, and if you gotta run some different stuff and get bigger down there, kind of through scheme, then you're going to have to. But yeah, defensive linemen say what's the price, but yeah, it's when it comes to center. PG said you don't think Bates is good enough to play. I'm maybe one of the highest people on Bates that there is. He was our longest tenured commit in the 2023 class. He was earliest when everybody left. He stuck around. He's just true freshman. It's really hard to just say, hey, look, you're now the guy, because the center has to do so much. He has to communicate, he's got to be talking basically out both sides of his mouth while snapping the ball. Like, it's just super, super tough. So while I think Bates is like a first 2-round draft pick eventually, like I am super high on him, I think he's going to be one of those guys, maybe not Creed, but the closest thing we've seen to Creed lately, because he was a true center in high school. Like Rame was a left tackle in high school. Like I watched him play Broken Arrow. He also played baseball. He'd leg out a triple. Dude's crazy athletic. But like you get a guy that's played center his whole life and wants to play center, it's a completely different story. So, yeah, I think we go there. I think the offensive line's interesting because if you get like wide receivers, you rotate them out. Defensive backs, you rotate them out. Like interior defensive line, edge, you rotate them out. Like safeties, you rotate them out. Running backs, you rotate them out. Everybody. Offensive line, you don't rotate out. So when it comes to getting offensive linemen through the portal, you pretty much have to be like, hey, if you come here, you're not going to start this year. Like, simple as that. So what we have is Walter Rouse is going to be back from injury, left tackle. You're going to have Savion Byrd, Matire, and Caleb Schaefer compete for the 3 guard spots. And then you're going to have Rame in the middle, and on the right side, you'll have Tyler Guyton. Outside of that, it's tough because, again, you're not rotating those spaces. So you got Jake Sexton, who's going to come back from his leg injury, and it was going to be his starting left tackle spot. So we'll have a controversy on the left side, but good depth on the left side. Caden Green's getting a lot of work at tackle. You got Jake Taylor, who's getting a lot of really good work at guard. So we have good offensive line depth right now. We just need to get people healthy. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. No, I agree. And that's why you saw what you saw at the spring game. And obviously other people outside looking in want to make comments. Oh, why was your quarterbacks running for your life? But, if they paid attention or saw it all, which, if you don't follow OU football, it is what it is. You wouldn't see that. You just know we had some guys out. So, no, I absolutely agree. Hey, guys, just a quick reminder. Make sure you hit that like button. We got about 80 people in here right now. So just make sure you guys just go over, take 2 seconds, hit that like button. If you're here, you enjoy what we're talking about, you enjoy the channel. Also, make sure you follow our Twitter handle at JP and Trav Show. Go ahead and give that a follow so you can keep updates on the JP and Trav Show. We, post content there. We do Throwback Thursday, different things like that. So go ahead and give that a follow. Hey, I wanted to talk about the NFL draft as well. Obviously, we did a little bit of a draft spectacular first couple picks last Thursday as we were on. And unfortunately, we didn't get to see Anton get picked. He got picked almost right after we got off, which was frustrating. Would have loved to have been on while that happened, but I just remember looking up and being like, yes, Anton, let's go. So Anton went, I think, 27th overall to the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I will be watching him at least twice a year if he'll be playing my Indianapolis Colts in the same division. But really excited for him, man. I figure we just go down the line if we got picked and just talk about, the fit and, what we see. So like I said, we'll start with Anton, man. Excited to see what he can do. I think he'll get a good opportunity down there in Jacksonville to anchor that line. They can put him at left or right tackle. And, I think he's just somebody that's continuing to ascend. He got better and better each year. Obviously with this last year being the best and making him a first round pick.
Yeah, I mean, most people had him graded as a second rounder, high second rounder, but with the top three tackles being taken decently early, and really with Bill Belichick screwing over the Jets, that really helped Anton. I feel, I feel like they were needing tackles earlier, and as people continue to push tackles up the draft, like the Patriots trading out and making sure Pittsburgh got the guy that the Jets wanted to draft.
Hmm.
It was only a matter of time for Anton to go off. That's why, I mean, I put it out on Twitter. I'm like, there's the run on tackles. Let's go. So they like what they get, obviously. Super athletic. It's classic. We saw this happen with Joe Burrow. You see it happen like really all over. Anytime you have a young quarterback, then next year in the draft, almost always they go offensive line because they're like, oh man, this Trevor Lawrence guy is really good. We got to keep him upright because just by nature, if you're really, really, really bad and you get a top guy like a Trevor Lawrence,
Hmm.
then the reason you're really, really, really bad is probably because you had a bad offensive line. So now you're putting, we've all seen the meme of Joe Burrow when they had the option of taking Jamar Chase or an offensive lineman. And it was like, you can either have Joe Burrow and a nobody play with Jamar Chase open down here and Joe Burrow is going to be on his back, or you could have a good offensive lineman right here, Joe Burrow here, and it doesn't matter who's down here. They're going to be wide open because he's got time. So we've all seen that. Really excited for Anton. Honestly, everybody knows I'm a Bill B guy here. We both are on this show, but couldn't be happier for Bill Bedenbaugh to get his first round draft pick. He's got everything else you need. He basically he has like the same amount of draft picks of 8 of the next 9 Big 12 teams
Yeah.
combined. Like the dude is just a monster. And in the last 6 cycles, I think he has 9 offensive linemen drafted.
Yeah.
For a guy who doesn't take a lot of recruits in recruiting classes, I mean, he knocks it out of the park with them, and looks like he's got a couple more on his hands with both the Jakes, Caden Green, with Josh Bates, obviously with Tyler Guyton. Walter Rouse is going to count for him. We just like Savion Burt, like you've got a lot of offensive linemen that are going to get drafted. So I really like the fit.
Yeah, and it's no better, obviously I know we talk about Lane Johnson, we talk about Trent Williams, and those are guys that obviously came from Oklahoma with, but maybe, that Bill didn't necessarily coach. But when you talk about like Ben Powers has got a ton of money. Orlando Brown just got a ton of money. Creed Humphrey is going to get a ton of money.
His guys get to the second contract.
Yeah,
that's the key. They get to the money contract.
They get to the money contract, and those 3 I just named like are directly within the last 5 years that coached by Bill Bedenbaugh, right? So like you love to see that. It's a trend that hey, not only do they do well in the league enough to get to the league, but then they continue to get better and better and better based off of their coaching. And Andy Reid did a little recruiting for us when he said, we like taking guys, and I don't want to skip over Marvin. We'll talk about Marvin too, but just real quick to talk about the other offensive lineman, the Wanye that got taken by the Kansas City Chiefs. Andy Reid gave us just free publicity, gave Bill B free publicity, and saying we just like the guys from Oklahoma. I mean, they're coached well, they know what they're doing. They obviously, again, they have Creed already. They had Orlando Brown Jr. last year, and obviously he'll be with the Bengals, got a mega contract to go be left tackle for them. And now they have Wanye. So, that's just free publicity for Bill Bedenbaugh. I love Wanye for the Chiefs. I think they think he can be somebody who's good for them. And again, they need to fill a tackle spot clearly with Orlando Brown Jr. being gone. So just swap Oklahoma tackles, I guess.
Exactly. They went tackle for tackle. There's no doubt. And since we are, on Wanye a little bit, his athleticism, like he's got it. It's always about, and I talked to Thor about this kind of pre-draft. It's like, does he really love the game? Like there are quotes. It's like, do you love the game or are you absolutely obsessed with the game? Like there are some that are absolutely obsessed with it. And with Wanye, you had some issues, obviously, in Norman. You had it with people who were like, oh, you maybe evicted. We got grade issues. Like, you got all this stuff going on. You were suspended early in the year, obviously, for grades. And it's like, so that's kind of stuff they kind of look at. But kind of felt like to me like he was just ready to be a pro.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm just ready to be a pro. Get me out of college. Get me out of school. I didn't come here to play school, right? So happy for him to get there. Obviously, it's a great fit because you've got some Oklahoma guys there. You've got Andy Reid. You've got championship culture. It's a lot like Philly taking like a Jalen Carter and whatnot, and even Keely Ringo, who has been described to have a 5-star attitude. When you take those guys and put them on winners, then you have the culture to basically reshape them if you need to from a mentality standpoint. So, there's a reason Jalen Carter wasn't going to go to a team with a little less success, a little less established culture, maybe less veterans or anything like that. Yeah, so excited for Wanye. I was actually surprised he went where he went. I expected him to go a little bit later, but couldn't be happier for him. So what you think about Marvin?
Yeah, I mean, I was super happy for Marvin to go in the second round. I think it shows he made the right decision. Sure, he could have came back and you could have said, well, maybe if he comes back, he'll be a first round draft pick. But to go in the second round is huge. And I think having the opportunity to be in the Broncos offense, and I know they struggled last year, but being able to now have Russell Wilson, and hopefully he snaps back into form this year. You still got Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton there. So there's not a lot of pressure on him to do anything on the outside. And I know he had, that comment that said, well, this is all I did at Oklahoma, and he wanted to prove that he's something else. But at the end of the day, they're going to want to put him where he is most successful, and not that he can't be outside, and be a number one or whatever else. But I think immediately he'll be able to, give that offense some life by being in the slot, and just using his speed to open up the field and take the top off of defenses.
Yeah, that 4.3 speed, and he can run the whole route tree. We know.
Yeah.
I will definitely be seeing Mims in person twice this year, I think. Once at fall camp, and then once when my Vikings go there. Got to go up and see our boy Jamar, who is up with the Broncos. So really excited for that. I mean, it's really a good opportunity for him because, again, you can't really teach that speed. But, again, Sean Payton, he gets to resurrect, Russell Wilson, let him cook. I truly think, you're looking at like a Tyler Lockett, relationship with Russ. That's what it feels like. Tyler Lockett is a smaller guy, and Marvin Mims isn't huge. So when you look at that, he's going to catch the ball and he'll probably get down. He doesn't want all of those safeties coming over and taking his head off. But I think, like I said, we saw what Russ was able to do with Tyler Lockett, and I think they're cut from the same cloth.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I'm excited to see what he's going to do moving forward. I think next was Eric next? They got drafted next, right? Mm-hmm.
Yep. Eric next, and then Braden.
Was it the 5th round or was it the 6th round?
I think Eric was in the 5th.
I think he was the 5th. Went to the New York Giants. New York football.
Yeah, and Saquon can't stay healthy, so
yeah.
He'll carve out a nice role for himself.
Mm-hmm.
I was already arguing with people on Twitter, imagine that, about him carrying the ball a certain way. They put up a 60-second clip, the Giants did. And they're like, we've taken Eric Gray, blah, 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 right? And everybody else is like, woohoo, welcome to the team, all this. And this one guy's like, well, he needs to carry the ball. He needs to learn how to switch the ball in his hands, whatnot. And I'm like, you watch 60 seconds of clips? he's had like 2 fumbles and like 600 carries.
I'm
Like
saying.
he's like, well, you could use it as a stiff arm, that other arm. I'm like, yeah, like he was like top 10 in Power 5 and yards per carry. Like he's fine. Like trust me, and the coaches at the New York Giants, they'll coach him on that. But it's just funny how no matter what, like you're picking in the 5th round, bro. Like, would you think you're getting Bijan?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? Like,
You
that's what
get
cracks
all
me up
around.
is a lot of these fans, I'm
Yeah.
sure I have as well, but it's like you have to think to yourself, like, the 5th, 6th, and 7th round guys, they're not perfect. Otherwise, they wouldn't be 5th, 6th, or 7th guys. Simple as that.
Exactly. Exactly. They want depth there at the running back position, and I think Eric is going to have a good opportunity to, be a backup. And you can have a lot of things happen, right? And we look at one Samaj P. Ryan, who has had quite the career arc, starting in Washington, then getting cut, getting picked up by the Bengals, carved out a nice backup role there, and then being able to be picked up by the Broncos, which is fun. So Mims will be out there with him too, so that'll be kind of cool to see that. And then finally, Weight Room Willie got picked up by the 49ers in the 7th round. We were wondering when he was going to go, and he finally did go. And I know, he had an emotional video just saying, 31 other teams messed up. 31 other teams messed up. So it's going to be fun to see what he's going to do for them. They're getting a hard worker, man. I mean, he, in some games, just was clearly by far the player that carried the most on our field, time and time again, pushed his teammates to be better,
Well, and
drag defenders and all that.
that's a lot of the reason why he got picked, right? Like
Mhm.
that's valuable, right? Like he interviewed extremely well. Like he's too short to be like an NFL like prototypical like tight end. Like he's going to have to be a little more unique, but I think he's going to play a ton of halfback, fullback, that type of situation. And just his blocking alone is going to get him on the field. It's going to get him on special teams. And like he should be a special teams monster. I'm a little concerned he didn't run the 40 at the Senior Bowl or his pro day. I think were the 2 times he didn't.
Mhm.
It's like you need to run the 40. I don't know what his 40 is, but like special teams coaches have a kind of a specific, cutoff that they use because you got to get down there, right? So I think he's got a big special teams career and kind of fullback, halfback type situation career ahead of him. So he's got some people to prove wrong in the NFL circles. Hopefully he can do it. I have no doubt that he can.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We can get to Q&A. I didn't really have anything else unless you had something you wanted to specifically hit on.
Not in particular. I know we've got a visitor in town. We had Tyson in town.
Yeah.
Now we've got Aiden Sherrill in town. 6'11", 2024. He's one of the top kids. He's a top 100 kid in 2024. He is, like I said, in town right now, according to his Instagram account, Aiden_Sherrill. But he is trying to reclassify to 2023. And some of the OU coaches are encouraging that. He would be on campus soon. He would be on campus with Cole and Cooper. If you get Cole, Cooper, and Sherrill, it's a young team, but man, that team would be crazy. So Tyson, Sherrill, those are some guys that would love to add, but Porter has done a fantastic job in the portal so far. But no, we can go through the comments and kind of Q&A this thing a little bit, see what the people want to talk about, and we can reiterate some things.
Yeah. So
if we need to, because I know.
I'm sorry. I was going to say I do want you to answer this question, but I want to go on a quick segue before speaking of. And this is the one. This is all. We don't talk about Texas too much on this show because we We truly, unlike some, inside Ian Boyd, unlike some of these people out here, you know, we're going to give you guys OU content, right? We're not going to be always be worried about what's going on down there. What I will say, we all heard, and Trav, you can back me up on this. We all heard the conversation about Arch Manning last year. We had the whole Arch and on thing. He's a 1.0. We didn't believe that. We didn't believe he was. And we all heard Texas fans blowing smoke, right? We all heard that. You heard that, Trav? Okay.
Uh-huh.
So when I see today, like somebody who I respect Doc Texas, he's about 26,000 followers, on Twitter. And all he has homer takes. He's not an unreasonable dude. He, quote tweeted something and basically just said, I think Malik Murphy's going to start next year and he's going to have a lot of good wide receivers and all this stuff. So me, just being sometimes a stupid person I am, was just like, huh. So we're saying that Arch Manning is going to sit for 2 full years. Is that what we're saying? Somebody that you said was and by On3 standards was a top 3 quarterback in the last decade recruit, right? That's what they said. So for me, all I asked was, are we saying that he's going to sit for 2 full years? Because I thought you said he was different, and I'm like, oh, they're backtracking now. Well, people have to develop. It takes time. Alabama, had people that sat for 2 years and then they unleashed them on the world. I was like, no, those are running backs. Those are defensive linemen. Those are linebackers. They didn't do that with quarterbacks. Bryce Young started immediately, and even if he wouldn't have started immediately, he probably would have only sat 1 year, not 2 in a row. If you're that guy, you're not sitting 2 years. And you can correct me if I'm wrong.
And none of them were ranked as high as Arch. So
That's right, correct. And that's my whole point is there was this whole argument of what he could be. And I don't think any of us, we talked about it once on the show. I don't think any of us ever said, oh, he's trash. He's not a good quarterback. I don't think any of us think that. He's a good quarterback, right? Really good. I mean, he should be a high 4, 5-star. Like, I'm cool with that. But to say that he is a 1, right, is to say that by his either the first or the second year he's there, he's starting. I understand the first because not everybody's gonna start the first year. Most people won't, especially if you have a proven quarterback before. That's fine. But to say a guy that was ranked basically the same that Austin Kendall was ranked, like that's saying Austin Kendall was going to be developed and beat out Kyler Murray. Like that's what they're saying.
yeah, the problem is they said initially that Arch is going to going to redshirt a year. The Mannings had said that, and he's going to sit behind Quinn. If it's 2 years, then there's probably a concern. But because Malik, he's got the size, he's got the body and everything, but he would just have to polish as a passer. He might be the best one on the quarterback right now, or best one in the quarterback room right now. I don't know. I'm not an Ewers fan. I know Zach Williams says that Ewers is going to come into the NFL knowing an NFL offense with Sark, and that's why Mac was so well regarded. I get that. But Quinn Ewers was not good last year. I don't care if he's running an NFL system or, veer and shoot or the spread power, the air raid, or I don't care. So, you still have to be good in it. Mac Jones was good in it. That's part of it. You can't sit here and compare every single quarterback to Mac Jones.
And Mac was a 3-star though. Mac was a 3-star at a high school. He was going to.
But the problem is, okay, Arch is Mac Jones 2.0. I think Ewers was okay. Ewers is going to come in just like Mac Jones. Just because you start under Sark doesn't mean, boom, you're going to be drafted just where Mac Jones was. That's just simply not how it works. You still have to be good in that offense. You have to be good in that offense. And Ewers simply has not been good in that offense. And we haven't seen Arch in the offense yet. So to say he's Mac Jones or he's Mac Jones 2.0, like I've got to see it on the field.
Yeah.
And you can, I mean, because you can look at other star quarterbacks and he's developed, a good amount of them. But to sit there and say that every one of them is going to be drafted at least as high as Mac Jones was is simply just, that doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
So simply doesn't make any sense. So I think Sark is a fine quarterback coach. He's a good offensive coach. I've liked his offenses, but when your quarterback goes 19 of 49 with 3 interceptions, I guess they're going to ignore that and just look at who he's coached in the past. I don't know, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Zach's a Sark guy, but I think Sark can coach quarterbacks.
Yeah.
But not every single quarterback that he's coached has gone on to just great success because they played in his system. It's just not true.
Did he coach Jake Locker?
I don't think he was there at that time. I think Jake Locker preceded him.
Okay. We can move on. I just wanted to. I had that conversation today, so I just wanted to talk about it real quick. Let's go ahead and go to Q&A real quick too, guys. Make sure you like that button. We got about 106 people in here. Thanks for everybody that's in here right now. Go ahead and like the channel, man. That's all you gotta do. Like this video, help the YouTube algorithm get it up. Share with your friends if you're enjoying what we're talking about. Comment. So thanks for being here, guys. All right, let's get to some questions. Go ahead, guys, pop them off. If you're new here, we ask that you wait until we have our separate Q&A time to ask the questions, because we are not going to go all the way back to the top to find what question you asked in the first 10 minutes. There's too many comments in here most of the time. So
Connor Neer came in. We think it's a big time pickup.
Yep.
Because he is an All-American for the back-to-back national champion D2 Ferris State. I get it. It's not Nick Jackson. It's not, name any other big-time linebacker, right, that was in the portal. But it never was going to be. This is depth. This is absolute depth. So, this is a guy that's going to come in and be behind Stutzman and Kanik and McKenzie and probably Kip Lewis, probably Shane Witter. But you think last year Shane Witter gets injured, TD Roof gets injured.
Mm-hmm.
They might have been able – it was basically Danny Stutzman, Deshaun White, David Ugwebu playing all the snaps, because after that it was true freshmen. Now – it's in SEC football, there's context to that as well. David Ugwebu was also on the field a ton because we couldn't get off on 3rd or 4th down. Connor Neer was an All-American. Ugwebu was not an All-American. So it's with him, it's depth. It's a break glass in case of emergency, and he knows that. I compared it earlier to quarterback recruiting whenever we had General Booty on campus and Davis Bevel on campus. It's really hard to recruit a position, and you're not going to get All-American or D1 All-Americans, I should say, if they know they're not going to be the starter. And General Booty knew he wasn't going to be the starter. Davis Bevel knew he wasn't going to be the starter. Connor Neer knows he's not going to be the starter. So you bring in this guy, again, he's a D2 guy, but he's not going to SEC football. I don't know what to tell you. 66 tackles, I know, but he's an All-American. So All-American on a team that just won back-to-back national championships. He's a depth piece. We're not looking for a starter. We have our starters. We have our second string. We're looking for depth and people that can get practice reps.
Listen, so, at the end of the day, Brent Venables offered the guy. If you want to argue with Brent Venables and him coaching linebackers and what they want, that you can. But if he gave the guy an offer, he saw something in him, and I'm not gonna argue with it. Well, it is what it is.
I do like SEC football, though, already committing the SEC logo to his profile picture, which means D2 equals high school, like he says. SEC can say that any other football conference is basically high school. So he's already in that mold. I do appreciate the mentality. But he said, if you don't trust BV about linebackers, that can be all you. I'm gonna continue to trust BV about linebackers.
Correct. You can believe that. You can believe that Ted Roof is the only one that's speaking into the linebacking room, even though we have hours of footage of BV being with the linebacker room a lot. So,
and Skalski.
I'll leave that there. Okay. Why do you think we don't get 5-star offensive linemen?
We were going to get DJ Campbell. We did get Bray Walker. He just the synapses weren't firing, I don't think, as quickly as they should. There's a reason that he's at Texas State now. We were going to get DJ Campbell, but that $50,000 cash that Bo Davis was offering, it literally is what changed it. I believe his father was in some tough health, from what I was told, and that money went towards his father's medical bills, which is which is admirable. And so we've been in on 5 stars, and the weird part is, like, we still have, like, over the last decade, we've had the best offensive line in the Big 12. Not every year in the decade, but for the better part of the last decade. And then you can pretty much see a dip. Like, you can pretty much see a dip with when Wiley was here. And then now with Seth Luttrell and Schmitty and all the gang back together, I assume this is going to be one of the better offensive lines that we've had in a little bit. And, so I don't know why we can't land 5-star offensive linemen. What I do know is, regardless of the star that they have with them, Bill Bedenbaugh seems to keep on putting them in the NFL.
Yep.
So
that's what matters. That's what always has mattered at Oklahoma, is development at the end of the day. And we have a clear track record of that. How's this Bill Bedenbaugh? So obviously, yes, we'd like 5 stars, but at the end of the day, if we continue to show ourselves approved, then we don't got to worry about it. We know we're going to have good offensive line play because we got that dude at offensive line coach. Okay, more questions, guys. More questions. Start throwing them in here.
I think there was.
Do you think we saw the full Levy offense last year? I know we didn't see everything from DG because we didn't have a real backup quarterback, so the QB run game was not there. How much better could the offense be? Yeah, I mean, definitely agree that we didn't see everything because, QB run game is a large component of it too. And, when we had the depth that we had at quarterback last year, you just weren't going to see it. So, with Jackson Arnold in tow, I definitely think you'll see more. But Trav, go ahead, man.
Yeah, you're definitely going to see more of the quarterback run game, obviously. But also the addition of Austin Stogner, I'm really excited about. Everybody talks about, doesn't use his tight ends in a certain way. I don't think Braden Willis was the receiving tight end that Austin Stogner is. I think Braden Willis brought a lot to the table, but I think you're going to see an immense improvement on intermediate routes. And that was missing a big part of the offense last year. I mean, I'm pretty sure Marvin Mims, 30% of his target. No, not 30% of his targets. I think it was something higher than that, 60% of his targets or something like that were past 20 yards, which was insane. So obviously the Texas Tech game, we all remember, they just kept on going deep. But I think with Stogner being a big body, I think he's going to run a lot more of that kind of intermediate space. And DG's kind of short, so he needs to get out of the pocket a little bit. It is harder to see the intermediate route with with the shorter quarterbacks. It is what it is.
Yeah. Okay. Question from Clint. How are we sitting with that Colorado receiver? Could be a great help for the wide receiver room.
We are sitting very well. You've seen 247 transfer portal crystal balls come in from one Colin Kennedy. I do know that Brandon and Parker would have entered their Rivals FutureCast transfer portal or Rivals transfer portal FutureCasts if they were allowed to. Like the actual system doesn't allow them to put in FutureCast for portal players for some reason. They're working on getting that fixed.
Yeah.
But I think he'll be a Sooner. I would love for his brother to be a Sooner. As crazy as it is, I'd like his brother to be a Sooner more than I'd even like him to be a Sooner because we need his brother so badly. His brother, Cal, Kansas. Hopefully we can get him on campus for a visit. I know Porter and the boys flew down last night to do an in-home, like an emergency in-home with his brother.
Really?
So I really like where we stand with wide receiver. I think immediately he will help. He wins deep. He had a really good game against Oregon last year, I think, which is important to understand. This wasn't just Colorado was bad, but it's like the Pac-12 is kind of bad, or at least it was last year. But Oregon was good, and Gonzalez, who went, super early, like he was the one who he was hitting on those deep balls. So, yeah, I think he'll be a good addition, especially to the return game. That's what I see most importantly is the return game.
Love to see us be more explosive there for sure. Depolo says, felt like the up-tempo offense hurt us more than helped us last year. Do you think Levy slows down things a bit this year? Me personally, I don't think he necessarily slows things down all the time. I still think he stays up-tempo, maybe in certain situations. I'm sure that's what you're talking about. But, I mean, there are plenty of times, up-tempo helped us out. And honestly, I think that maybe the bigger maybe hurt, would maybe be on the defensive side of the ball, but that's just because of how many snaps guys like David Agwebu and Danny Stutzman were playing. As we talked about earlier, we just didn't have the depth for that. And I think ultimately, what Brent Venables wants to build as he said, a punishing, relentless, overbearing defense with a fast, up-tempo, suffocating defense, but a fast up-tempo, like strike quick offense. And when you have the depth to be able to do that, you can trust what you're going to do and the defense is better. But I don't think he's going to slow it down a ton. I'm sure he'll do it in certain situations, but I think you'll see just as much tempo.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to slow down all that much. I mean, the reason it hurt last year was because the defense couldn't get off the field.
Yeah.
And that's what stinks. If you can get off on 3rd and 4th down, then and you can use it. I think Dylan is going to be even better versed this year in the offense because keep in mind he didn't just play in Levy's offense and then go play in Levy's offense at OU. Like it was like playing Levy's offense and then he was away from Levy and then he had to go back to it. So, anyways, I think he'll be better at using it as a weapon. He'll know when to speed up if they've got him in between substitutions or they've got him misaligned. I think they just need to be ready to speed it up. I think they'll have the play call in, and it'll be up to kind of DG on how quickly to run things. But I don't think they're going to just go full blown like, all right, let's wait. Now there is a situation where it's like, hey, we've got a lead. We want to run clock. Like, don't snap the ball with 25 seconds on the shot or on the play clock. Like, just don't do that. Like, run clock. So I think that's just a communication thing. You just got to be like, hey, look, we got to be situationally better than that.
Yeah. Agreed. Mm-hmm. Let's see what else we got here. Got about 5 minutes left. Appreciate all y'all being in here. There's a good
Now,
basketball.
Hank's question.
Which
Sorry,
one?
we put that one up next. Hank's question is interesting because with limited linebacker depth, we have to remember that Deshaun McCullough can play linebacker. He was a freshman All-American edge, played a lot of linebacker. Now he's going all the way back to the third level and being cheetah. So
Whose question is it so I can put it up?
Hank,
Hank.
the most recent.
Gotcha.
So it's like, if we do see injuries to the linebacker core, that's a guy you can put in there, and then they'll just put like Justin Harrington is wowing people at cheetah. So if they can find a way to get McCullough and Justin Harrington on the field at the same time, you might see that. But as far as Butkus finalists go, Stutzman, for sure. For sure.
Yes, this one's going to be a beast this year. I'm looking forward to it, man.
So you're about, I think you put one about, yeah.
Good basketball.
I think if we don't make the tournament, man, it's tough because he's brought in so much talent, especially if we can get this Sherrill kid to reclassify. That'd be 5 top 100 players in 2 classes, which would be, I mean, there's not, there's probably less than 10 programs that will have done that over the 2 years. So I would say it's tough because he wants to build his core, right? And that's why Otega Owe and Los Uzan, those are his guys. Northweather is his guy. They all stayed. Caden Cooper and Cole, they're staying. And they're 2 top 100 guys that are coming in this year. They're going to play a lot. So now Porter has got what could be the makings of a starting 5 that he got all out of high school.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to build culture through high school. So with that being said, yes, we had Javian McCollum, who's a top 10. He was literally ranked 10th in the entire portal. So when you start looking at kind of the roster he's putting together, I think, we've got a better roster right now than we did last year. If we take nobody else through the portal, we've got a better roster now than we did last year. So that being said, man, if he doesn't make the tournament with this roster, it's tough because it is the Big 12. It is the Big 12, and we're going to an easier conference.
Yeah.
Going to an easier conference. So especially because it gets tougher with Houston coming in. So
man, I forgot about that this year.
Yeah. So going to be a tough conference, but I think we make the tournament. But yeah, if he finishes last in the Big 12, as one of his most staunch supporters, I would have a hard time arguing for him in that scenario.
Yeah. Let's say these last 2 back-to-back. We got a question about the defense, and then on one about Ethan Downs. So Richard asked, what do we feel is the ceiling for this defense, top 15? And I'll let you start us off on that one.
Yeah, I think that's the absolute ceiling. I expect it to be top 50. And I know that is not what people want to hear, but top 50 is a massive improvement.
Yeah.
And we still don't have the interior defensive line and the linebacker depth. I think our secondary is fantastic. I think Billy Bowman and Reggie Pearson is a very, very good safety duo. I think we have a chance to have very good corner play. Our front line of our linebackers is going to be very good. Edge is going to be very good. We're loaded at edge. It just comes down to interior defensive line, communication, execution, that kind of thing. All that kind of stuff matters. So it's I don't know, man. The schedule kind of lends itself to that. I might say, yes, I know football. I think it'll be top 50, which would be a huge improvement. I honestly think I think ceiling is like absolute ceiling is like top 25.
Yeah. And I think that's reasonable. I mean, if we get to be top 15, you're talking about a huge jump. And
Yeah, that would be one of the biggest jumps in college football history. So I'm
if
not
that
counting on that.
happens, right,
I'm
if
not
that
counting on
happens,
that.
man, great. But yeah, I think reasonable is to say, top 35. And as you said, I think even more reasonable than that is to have expectations of top 50. And I mean, if we have a top 50 defense last year, we probably win 8 or 9 games. Just being honest, if we have a top 50 defense. And so
I
um,
know that TCU and Texas will not combine for the total they combined for last year.
that's a fact.
So
No matter what they tell you.
no matter what they tell you, it will not be. It will not be. They will not combine for over 100 points.
And
TCU and Texas will not combine for over 100 points.
and they're going to continue to throw, and I get it. It is what it is. Our rivals will do it. They'll continue to throw the 49-0 thing in our face. It is what it is. Like, you can say that with no context, no DG, because no DG, we literally had no life at all. Like, and the defense is on the field the whole time. Like, what do you do? But regardless of any of that, you're right. We will be much better next year. All right, I'd love to end on this one. I know you and I have both been huge Ethan Downs supporters. I've even gone so far as to say, and this maybe was a little presumptuous of me, but we'll see. A year and a half ago, I said that I believed, in 2.5 years, Ethan Downs would be a first round draft pick. Now, I believe he has the potential to be. I do. I truly do. I think, if he can continue to develop and grow, I think he has the body. I think he has, very Joey Bosa type frame, the Watt brothers type frame. Now he's gotten a little bit bigger, that was kind of when he was, a little bit skinnier, but, they've asked him to gain some weight, which is fine. I still think that he has a potential to be, a really great player and make some noise in the league. Will he be first round? I can't say that. Obviously trajectory's not planning that way, but as you said, he was all conference Big 12 last year, and he was hurt. A lot of people don't know that he played through an injury most of the year. So what do you have to say about Ethan?
Yeah, I'm a big Ethan Downs guy. I think that he was our only defender that was all conference last year. So I think it's wild that he gets a lot of the slander that he does. All conference. A lot of people are like, "We'll move to the inside." Oh, like Jet just said. Sorry, Jet, I didn't even see that. He's not going to move to the inside. He got decently big in winter workouts, but they're going to trim him back down to about 265. Here's the thing. We keep on saying we want 290, 300-pound interior defensive lineman, but we want to move a guy that's 270 to the inside.
Yeah.
Like you gotta choose. So you either want small defensive linemen on the interior, then move them in. But you don't want that. You want bigger guys. You want people pushing 290, 285, 300. You want them there. Because he'll play at 270, 275 maybe. But he's not. But he's a big edge rusher for sure. But he's still explosive. So he's getting married this summer. So he'll be wifed up. Be playing with a silicone ring on his hand or maybe under his glove, something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, I mean, he was a tackle for loss monster last year when you looked at like conference rankings, stuff like that. I think he had 12 and a half tackles for a loss. No, I think actually higher than that now that I think about it. But yeah, like Ethan Downs a lot. I think it's a fool's errand to just go ahead and be enamored with the flashy new toys of Rondo Balthroyd and Trace Ford and PJ Adebawore and all this and just be like, yeah, no, Ethan Downs is the incumbent starter for a reason. And Chavis loves him.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's just a great dude too, man. Great leader, high integrity. You want those guys, we know, the type of dudes that they look for in that program. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to the year, man. We'll continue to talk about it. I think as Gabe said on their podcast this week, this is kind of the time where it's really, ebb and flow for college football. You get done with the spring game. You don't have much to talk about until, late June, early July. Obviously, you have some transfer portal stuff, but other than that, we'll just be speculating till we get some. So, um, Trav, you got anything else, man? Looks like we're about at that time.
Nope.
I'll throw this back on for May the 4th. And I'm going to watch Golden State beat the brakes off the Lakers.
They are beating the brakes off of them. They're up 30 right now. And Steph hasn't really even not for any I mean, he's like, I think he's 6 of 8 or 7 of 9, but he just has been distributing. I think he's got 14 and 12. So
Clay's got a bunch.
Clay's got 30. So I mean, it's hard to beat a team when they're doing it like that. But yeah, they're getting blasted. All right, y'all. We appreciate you guys again, as we announced last week and officially announced on the Twitter account, which you can follow right here. Follow at JP and Trav Show on Twitter. We are officially moving to Thursday nights for the off season. Thursday nights at 9 p.m. Central Time. Just makes sense for both of us. We'll move back to Wednesdays once the season gets here. Specifically because that's a good day I can be here. I'm busy as an athletic. In the off season, which is my off season too, I got time. So we'll be here Thursday nights, man. We appreciate every one of you guys that's in here. We had over 150 people at one point. So that's awesome. Appreciate you guys that are all in here. Make sure you like the video on your way out. And again, follow Trav Show. Make sure you share, like, subscribe, and just tell more people about us. Come join this fun show. We enjoy talking, enjoy engaging with you guys. Trav, you got anything?
Nothing from me. Nothing
Right.
from me. Let's look at some of these transfers.
Yes, sir. All right, y'all. Boomer.